Everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and welcome to my very, very late review of episode 4 of House of the Dragon Season 2. And, yeah, the long wait is over. It feels like war is officially, finally here. Not like pretend war, not like a couple of families are feuding with each other. This is like, okay, there's an army over there, and there's an army over there, and there's two dragons, and things don't end well for everybody. And that is, like, it feels like we're finally here. They did all this build-up, and some people were starting to complain, and I was starting to kind of feel it. I was like, okay, I get it. If dragons start fighting, it's gonna be bad, but we know it's gonna happen, so let's see it. And yeah, we're finally here. Okay, so let's see some other things first. Daemon is still at Harrenhal, and he is kind of just tripping out at Harrenhal. You know, it's supposed to be this haunted, spooky castle, and of course he's waking up, seeing all these like scary visions and dreams where he's decapitating Rhaenyra, and you know, he's kind of struggling, this like inner struggle of like, you know, he still wants the crown, he still feels like it belonged to him, and he's kind of confronting that, I guess, that reality of himself, and maybe he still feels guilty for some of the stuff he's done. I don't know. It's always been very hard to read Daemon, and I feel like this is the show's attempt to try to like get us inside of his head a little bit and figure out like what's going on with this guy. But meanwhile, he meets I believe her name was Alice Rivers, who is the witch lady. She's a witch. She can like see the future, or maybe she's really old and she just pretends to be young. I'm trying to remember, is it Melisandre from Game of Thrones? Of course, she had like the ruby necklace that made her look young, so maybe that's what's going on with this lady. She kind of says like, oh, I'm not a lady at all, I'm a barn owl, cursed to live as a lady, you know. So she's, look, magic has existed in Game of Thrones before, so we know like something's going on with this lady, right? And she did say last episode, you're gonna die here, so Daemon's probably gonna die here, or maybe he'll just think he died here, or maybe it's gonna be like a metaphorical, like that version of himself died here. I don't know. But in any case, she's probably got some important role to play. So we're introduced to this creepy witch lady who gets him to drink something, and then he's, I don't know, he's just like in another scene suddenly after he drinks a thing, and it's like he's just like walking through this weird haunted dream of a mansion. So that's basically what's happening to him. You know, he's tripping out. Meanwhile, of course, he's at Harrenhal, the place everyone thought that they were trying to get to. It's supposed to be like the stronghold to control this whole location. And Criston Cole, instead of going to Harrenhal, he's like, no, we're gonna go to is it Rook's Run, or you know, it's some smaller coastal location that's not nearly as important. And everyone's like, why would he go there? What's the point of that? And basically Criston Cole and Aemond have been like doing their own side deal where they're pretty much running this war without Aegon involved at all, which is a little strange because Aegon named Criston Cole the Hand the other, you know, just a couple episodes ago, and you feel like surely Criston Cole and Aegon would be like buddy, but they're not. It's really Criston Cole and Aemond who are like doing all this planning and coming up with strategies and stuff. And basically even Alicent has to be like, hey, King Aegon, we need you to just do nothing. Just do nothing. You don't know anything about war. You don't need to insert yourself just because you're the king. You think you're suddenly wise because you're the king. Like, no, sit there, don't die, you know, and just be the king, right? Just, you have other people who know how to do war and strategize and all that. Don't get involved, you know? And he keeps on wanting to insert himself. He keeps on wanting to be like, no, let me get on a dragon. Let me, you know, be this awesome king. He wants to be like the guy. And even though he's king, he's just not the guy. That's just not how it is. So you can see this like brewing, this frustration in him, which of course leads him to, on his own, against the wishes of everyone around him, he gets on his dragon and he goes out there because Aemond basically humiliated him in front of his own council, and he was told by his mom to pretty much shut up and sit down. So he goes out there completely against the plans of everything else. Meanwhile, Rhaenys, the queen who never was, she offered to go to Rook's Run and was like, I'll take out Criston Cole. I don't even know why they want this place, but I'll take him out. It'll be no problem. I'll be right back, which of course means she's not going to be right back. You know, so she goes out there, and everything's going fine. You know, dragon, fire breathing, the whole army, not a big deal. But it feels like someone like her should have probably said, well, we couldn't figure out why they wanted this place to begin with. It doesn't really make any sense. It feels like someone in the room should have probably been like, maybe it's a trap. Maybe they don't want this place and this is like a trap. They want us to come out there with dragons. Because sure enough, Aemond and Vhagar were sitting there waiting. They were trying to lure out a dragon, and that's why they were going after a coastal city, because it's, Dragonstone is like right there. And of course it works. But first Aegon showed up, and that was not part of the plan. So you have Rhaenys versus Aegon, and he pretty much gets his shit rocked like immediately, right? So whiny little king, his dragon is burnt and crisp, and he's all burnt and crisp, and Aemond had shown up, and he actually Dracarys'd, both of them. So it seems like Aemond is possibly trying to take out Aegon. Of course he humiliated him in front of the brothel last episode, so he's got a chip on his shoulder. He doesn't much think that his brother should have been king anyway, so yeah, it definitely seems like he was trying to take him out, which is pretty fascinating. So it's like, maybe some Kingslayer and Kinslayer type stuff going on there. But Aegon goes down. Rhaenys had the chance to run, possibly, but she turns and she decides to fight Aemond and Vhagar, who's, again, Vhagar, the biggest dragon, the oldest dragon. He's pretty much, he's the guy that took out, what's his name, at the end of last season. So, big problem, right? He's pretty much like their biggest chess piece that the Greens have on their side. And, she puts up a fight, but it does not end well for Rhaenys. The dragon dies, she ends up falling to her death, and Aemond and Vhagar pretty much it's just a big W for the Greens. And I don't know about you guys, but it feels like Team Black, Rhaenyra, they just keep taking loss after loss, and I don't know. The show has definitely positioned them to be like the ones that we're rooting for. It seems like they seem to be the good guys of the show, or at least as much of good guys as there can be, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. This was not a good episode for them. They they took another L. They lost Rhaenys, giant experienced dragon rider, respected person who's, I assume she's seen combat in the past, but like, yeah, that sucks for them. Meanwhile, Aegon is probably still alive. It feels like they would have confirmed his death if he actually died. And Aemond was down there. A lot of people have pointed out Aemond had his sword drawn when he got on the ground, and Criston Cole found them. So, like, was Aemond about to finish the job and kill his brother? Maybe, but Criston Cole got there first. So, Aegon is probably still alive, and Aemond just gets to look like the hero again. Unless of course Aegon wakes up and he's like, hey, he shot fire at me. He put me in harm's way directly. In fact, it was his fire that took down my dragon. So, what the hell? If that conversation ends up happening, if he's like in a coma, or if he's still awake to talk and say like, wait, what the hell was that, Aemond? You shot me with fire? I don't know. We're gonna see how that goes. But yeah, just very, very sad moment for the Blacks. Team Black. That sucks. She was a really cool character, but the show has to do this. Like, we have to have these meaningful deaths, and they're going to be impactful. So I guess next up is to see, like, does Team Black finally get a win? Like, are they going to get revenge? Like, they got to get Aemond and Vhagar off the board, because that is the biggest thing that's like makes Team Green seem pretty much unstoppable. Like, he was protecting King's Landing basically. So I don't know, maybe they get word that Vhagar's not at King's Landing right now and they can get some kind of attack in. I don't know what you do next. And meanwhile, Daemon has Harrenhal, but no one seems to care about Harrenhal. Harrenhal was built up to be like this really tactically important spot, but like, it's in ruin, and they can't seem to get their army together because the Tully is like, he's like an elderly guy who's in bed basically, and his grandson can't technically rally troops because he's not technically in charge. He doesn't inherit that unless the grandfather dies, which Daemon does suggest. But you know, it's like 10-year-old kids like, what? You want me to kill my grandpa? What? So, you know, we're gonna have to see how this all plays out, but man, devastating episode 14 Black. I am glad we finally got some dragon action. You know, it feels like this is the episode everyone's kind of been waiting on. It was worth the wait, I will say that, you know, like, and I think that's the thing about this show, is that if they constantly threw dragons fighting at us just non-stop and that's all the show was, I feel like by episode 3 or 4 you'd be tired of it, right? Like, you have to have the build-up and the political intrigue and the family infighting and all these people like scheming and all that. Like, you have to have all this in order for deaths like this to matter. Because otherwise it wouldn't matter. You won't care who's on the back of the dragon if you don't have all the build-up. So anyways, yeah, pretty crazy episode. I don't know, this show, to me, I would say overall, I don't think it has quite reached the heights of Game of Thrones, but it's definitely like well on its way. You know, like, it doesn't feel like we're at season 3 or 4 of Game of Thrones yet, but next season of House of the Dragon, you might be able to get there. Like I definitely am invested, you know. I think we just need a couple more like shocking, like, oh my god kind of moments, but it's pretty cool so far. I'm also very interested in like what's going on with this witch lady. Like, what's her deal? I know that they've possibly changed some things from the books, which I think that's always exciting when they do that, because there's ways that you can change things without, like, you know, going overboard and drastically changing the whole trajectory of the story. You can make small changes that still leave people guessing, and I like it when they do that. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about House of the Dragon episode 4, and yeah, just man, Rhaenyra's side is they're having a rough go of it. I'll say that. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Bye.